Hi everybody, Mark here with today's song. One of the things that's particularly enjoyable about doing this show is finding out what certain songs are actually about. And it's often quite surprising. Sometimes a song that's kind of upbeat will turn out to be about very dark subject matter, whereas a song that seems very deep and complex will turn out to be about something simple or even silly. Today's song is Werewolves of London by Warren Zevon. On the surface, Werewolves of London appears to be a song about a meticulously dressed werewolf who goes out on the town in London to eat dinner and commit the occasional murder. In fact, however, the song is actually about a meticulously dressed werewolf who goes out on the town in London to eat dinner and commit the occasional murder. That's right, it's really just a fun song that Warren Zevon and a couple of his collaborators wrote. The story is actually pretty interesting though. It begins with Phil Everly of the Everly Brothers, who watched the classic horror film Werewolf of London. He was good friends with Warren Zevon, so he suggested to Zevon and his frequent collaborators, Waddy Wachtel and Leroy Marinell, that they should write a song about werewolves. Everly knew that Zevon kind of had a penchant for writing songs that were a little bit offbeat or even funny or silly, so he wanted to see what they could do with it, mostly kind of as a joke, but also a challenge. The challenge was accepted as Wachtel immediately responded with, "Ooh," and they were off to the races. It actually took the guys only about 15 minutes to write, and the writing process consisted of nothing more than the guys trying to basically make each other laugh with increasingly bizarre and funny scenarios involving werewolves. It was just kind of a fun thing that they did, and then they forgot about it. However, they would play the song for their friends when they would come over, and it turns out that Zevon and Wachtel had a lot of famous friends who really liked the song. Including Jackson Browne and T-Bone Burnett, both of whom would then play the song in live shows, and discovered that the audience was really enjoying that goofy little song about werewolves, so much so that they both interdependently urged Zevon to record a version to put on his next album. Ironically, for a song that only took 15 minutes to write, the recording process was an absolute undertaking. It took days upon days, and actually it ate up the majority of the budget for the entire Excitable Boy album on which it appears. They tried different approaches, brought in other famous friends who might be able to play different parts of instrumentation. And in the end, the version that is on the album features Mick Fleetwood and John McVie of Fleetwood Mac on drums and bass respectively. So they finished the song, put it on the album, sent it off to the record label, who then surprisingly came back to them and said, "You know what? We think this Werewolves of London song should be the first single off the album." To which Zevon was shocked and replied, "You mean the piece of shit that took me only 15 minutes to write?" But the record company prevailed, and they were actually onto something, as it became a hit. I mean, it was a Warren Zevon-sized hit. It wasn't, triple platinum, but for him, it was his biggest song, and really now is his sort of his signature song. And the song continues to be popular. Every year around Halloween, it enjoys a little bit of a resurgence. It really surged in popularity around the time that the movie The Color of Money came out, as in that movie, Tom Cruise famously sings along to the song while he hustles someone at pool. And it's also kind of a pop culture icon in that recently the BBC had their, viewers, listeners, it was on the web, so it was a web poll, whatever you call surfers, vote on the most popular and famous opening line of a song. And the opening line of the song, "I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand walking through the streets of Soho in the rain. He was looking for a place called Lee Ho Fook's, going to get a big dish of beef chow mein," was recently voted the most popular opening line of a song, narrowly beating out the opening line of Bill Haley and the Comets' "Rock Around the Clock." However, for all its popularity, it's still kind of a weird song, and nobody's really sure what it's about, other than being a goofy song about werewolves. Jackson Browne actually did have a theory that it was one big metaphor, and that the werewolf that the song is about is actually supposed to represent a Victorian English dandy, and who was more concerned with dressing nice and eating good meals, and that the random acts of violence were actually metaphors for the pain that his selfishness inflicted on people in his life. Of course, Zevon maintained always that it was just a novelty song. A novelty song, not an out-and-out comedy song, he would be quick to emphasize, but a novelty song nonetheless, just a little something fun. And Zevon also eventually did come to terms with the fact that it was probably going to be his biggest legacy. He kind of wished it would have been something that he didn't whip off in 15 minutes, but on the other hand, as he pointed out, whenever somebody says the name Warren Zevon, even people who don't really know that much about music, there will now be a song that immediately springs to their mind, which Zevon admitted was actually kind of cool. So if you want to watch the music video for Werewolves of London, click the link in the description below. If you like what we're doing here, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back soon with something new. Bye-bye.